This is a loom that I bought out of an attic in Ware, New Hampshire. Oral history has it being made and used by George Norris, who was the town handyman and the town weaver. Along with the loom, I bought the whole workshop, his warping frame, his quilling wheel, his knitting bench for making heddles, everything except one treadle and a shuttle, which I later came to get at a yard sale. It was made around 1750. And I have it set up for coverlets, and the project is on a red warp, 4-harness overshot, which demands that I have to have 2 shuttles, one for the pattern, one for the tie down or tabby. And you'll see I have fringes out on the sides for the ends of the runners. It's also set up so I can weave a large coverlet with a border on the side and fringes and a seam on the other side. The left side is where I make my center seam usually. Change colors here and use a different set of treadles, and a different block of color will sit on top. Overshot has solid colors on the top, half tones where the wool and cotton weave together, and areas of solid tabby, which are solid red in this occasion. How much can a weaver weave in a day? I average between 90 and 100 inches. The yarns that I'm using have been dyed with natural indigo, 2 shades of blue. Change colors again. I have a cloth stretcher in place, which is called the temple, and that's purpose is to make it easier on me. You should be able to keep a nice even selvage without a temple, but as you're weaving, the cloth becomes a little bit more funnel shaped, V-shaped, and the temple, which is here, keeps the cloth stretched to its maximum width, so I don't have to fight it. Coming to the end of the line there. Color change again. Even though this loom is a 4-poster from New England, sometimes called the 4 posts of poverty, it still talks to me the same way as it did years ago. Weaving was a very poor occupation, and the loom and the shuttle would talk back and forth. Let me just change quills here. Slip a new one into the shuttle. The shuttle was always starting it. He'd fly across and say, "Ich en dich," I support you. And the beater would reply, "Nops, nops," just barely, barely. put a navy one back in here. I think you can see the cloth growing. I've done almost 2 inches since I sat down. This pattern is called pine burr or pine cone blossom. It's been very popular throughout history, widespread from New England to the south. And my customers have found it very satisfying. It is the most popular thing I do. Most of the time the background is ecru colored. To advance the warp. So I'm always counting. As I weave the cloth, it gets closer and closer to the beater here. So I have to release the tension, let it relax, pull on the cord, which raises the brake and advances the warp just a few inches. Tension back on, and here I will move the temple forward. The nails has little pins or nails here, and I'll just put that into the selvage of the cloth. You can see the difference. It's almost 1.5 inches difference without the temple in place. If I stop for a minute and show you what exactly is happening, the warp is put onto the back beam all at one time. I chain warp. It's connected to the beam. I hold the end of it and somebody turns the beam for me. And then each end is put through one of these vertical white strings called a heddle. Each heddle has an eye, and you follow the numerical sequence in order to get your pattern set in these 4 shafts. It might be 1 2 1 2, 3 4 3 4, 1 4 1 4, 3 2 3 2. Then it's drawn through this reed. In this case it's a metal reed, and its job is to create how many threads to the inch. In this case it's 24 threads to the inch. Then it's tied up in the front here, and you connect to your treadles or your pedals, and if you've done it right, there shouldn't be any mistakes. If you haven't done it right, you have to start over to correct it. Again, bobbin change. These would have been made out of quills from a goose or an elderberry bush. The stem or pith can be used by pushing the pith out when it's soft, and that'll create a hole for your spindle shuttle. Each one holds about 30 to 40 yards, and they're wound previously with the aid of a quilling wheel. Gonna run out, so I'll just lay that thread in place, take another quill, goes through the side of the shuttle. Don't do it twice. And when I'm starting to add a new thread, I will keep it over in the selvage and just overlap it about an inch, half inch to an inch. There we go. This is a 20 shaft Oxabach loom with a countermarch system. It has 20 shafts here. Each of these is a shaft. It has 22 treadles when I'm using them all. And when I step on a pedal, I can only step on one at a time, but the shafts will move up and some will move down, creating a shed or opening here through which the shuttle will go. This is a modified summer-winter. It's the same threading as the summer-winter, which means the pattern thread is always going over 3, under 1, over 3, under 1. But I don't have as many treadles to use. I've only tied up 1 to each block, so the pattern weft shots do not stagger. Started here with my cotton thread. A light blue one goes across, and then a dark blue one will tie everything in place. That's your tabby thread. Just have to weave this end in a little bit. watch my feet. The pattern is a star and diamond. Partial to stars. I like stars, so any pattern that will give me a star, I'm all for. And you can do so much with it if you don't want to weave stars, you can weave trees. There's a lot of elements in the star to be moved around. Two strings, one on either side. This is for fringes. This is a small coverlet, be about 50 inches square when it's done. Sides will have blue fringes, and the other two ends will have the warp or the navy fringes. I'm going to stop. I'm getting closer to the beater here. I'm going to release the tension on the cloth. You can see it sagging. If I pull on this cord, it will lift the brake to the back warp beam. I can pull some more warp front, readjust the tension. Working on right now, the points of the star, you can see it coming to life there. That will be the end of this quill. So I'll switch it out. Drop another one in the shovel. I'm always counting and always watching to see that the right motif is coming up. Just got out of blue too. Here I'll just leave the end in. shed and get another quill. Just overlap them in the selvage, maybe just an inch. And continue. Points of the star are done. Now I'm going to work on the wings, the points that go east and west. Summer winter derives its name from the fact that it has a light side and a dark side. Step on a different treadle, a different portion of the warp will rise and fall. Creating a new series of spaces.